Want to hear something insane? Guess what 10% of alcohol drinkers have in common? Death. According to the CDC, excessive drinking is responsible for 1 in 10 deaths among working age adults. And every single year, alcohol kills 95,000 Americans, which is 260 people every single day. Most people who click on this video will not be able to finish it. The truth is too brutal. But if you can watch this entire video, it could change your relationship with alcohol forever. I am going to show you 8 ways that alcohol is literally killing you. And reason number 8 is the deadliest of them all, the one that the alcohol industry never wants you to hear. So why should you listen to me? Well, my name is Leon Sylvester. I'm the founder of SoberClear.com, which is a coaching company that helps business people and professionals get control of their drinking quickly, sometimes in as little as 24 hours. My company's method is scientifically validated, and you can find an academic paper about it that's written by an academic psychologist by going to Google Scholar and searching SoberClear. I haven't touched alcohol for over 7 years after almost a decade of struggling. I know firsthand just how destructive alcohol can be, and I've seen how dramatically life can change once you quit. So when I tell you these 8 ways alcohol is killing you, it's not just theory, it's experienced, backed by scientific evidence. Number 1, it is destroying your liver. So alcohol is a very unusual toxin, unique in a couple of ways actually. Firstly, it's almost without competition amongst recreational drugs in just how widely it damages the body. Alcohol is a light molecule that's both water and fat soluble, and after ingestion it quickly reaches most organs and tissues in the body, which is why it can cause literally dozens, if not hundreds of different types of health problems. Few other drugs can match alcohol in this respect. But even more bizarrely, alcohol is also calorie dense. This makes it unique, a highly toxic substance that also provides energy. The difference with normal food, from which our body extracts proteins, fats, carbohydrates, and micronutrients, is that alcohol offers nothing else apart from this energy. It doesn't contribute nutrients that serve our health in any way, and even interferes with the absorption of nutrients that we actually get from food. Not only that, but because our body recognizes it as a toxin, it doesn't process it like regular food. Instead, it sends it to the liver, which is the body's detox factory. Our liver is tasked with breaking down most of the toxins we ingest so that they can be expelled from the body. And the real tragedy is that the first step in this process involves converting alcohol to an even more toxic molecule called acetaldehyde. Depending on how you measure it, acetaldehyde is up to 30 times more toxic than alcohol itself. And this toxicity is felt first and foremost in the liver, where most of the acetaldehyde is made. But the damage extends beyond acetaldehyde. Alcohol also upsets the liver's normal metabolism, leading to an accumulation of fat within liver cells. The result is fatty liver, where the liver literally swells up with fat. You don't even have to be a particularly heavy drinker. Even moderate consumption can lead to this. But fatty liver is only the first step towards the ultimate destruction of the liver. The next step is hepatitis, where the liver becomes chronically inflamed. Whilst fatty liver doesn't usually have any overt symptoms, with hepatitis, things start to get serious. Symptoms include fever, jaundice, which is yellowing of the skin, and abdominal pain. The last stage of liver disease is called cirrhosis. At this point, the inflammation eases up, but not because your liver is getting better. The inflammation, after all, was only the liver's attempt to repair the damage. The hallmark of cirrhosis is extensive scar tissue that replaces your liver's healthy cells. This scar tissue is essentially useless, and the more it proliferates, the harder it becomes for your liver to function. Cirrhosis is generally irreversible. Life expectancy varies widely depending on the severity, but it often ranges between 5 and 10 years. Number 2, every aspect of your cardiovascular health is compromised. So just how much alcohol taxes your heart is something you can easily verify yourself by just getting yourself a smartwatch. Your resting heart rate measures how many times per minute your heart beats when you're at rest. It's a broad but useful indicator of your cardiovascular health. Generally speaking, the lower the value, the better. It means that your heart is able to pump the blood with less work. For most people, resting heart rate ranges from 60 to 100 beats per minute. But athletes and highly fit individuals can have rates as little as 40. If you drink regularly, try going just 4 or 5 days without booze and see how much your resting heart rate drops. That's why smartwatches can be a great investment. The drop won't be subtle. On the flip side, if you drink more infrequently, notice how the number spikes just after one heavy night of drinking. Eventually, if you keep on drinking, your heart might start to beat irregularly. These arrhythmias used to be called holiday heart, as doctors noticed them in patients who returned after holidays with heavy drinking. If the person keeps on drinking, these arrhythmias can become chronic, increasing the risks of stroke and heart failure. Drinking also raises blood pressure, which doctors call alcohol-induced hypertension. Blood pressure is a key predictor of health and longevity, and increased values put you at risk of heart disease, kidney damage, strokes, and vision impairments. Fortunately, in people without underlying medical conditions, as little as 3 to 4 weeks of sobriety can be enough to reverse this hypertension. The end stage of alcohol-related heart damage is called alcoholic cardiomyopathy. Here, the heart muscle itself thins and stretches out of shape, and the symptoms resemble heart failure, shortness of breath, fatigue, and swelling in the legs. The damage at this point is often irreversible, with a typical life expectancy of just a few years. A commonly used guideline says that to be at risk for alcoholic cardiomyopathy, you must have consumed a minimum of 5 or 6 drinks per day over the course of 5 years. Number 3. Your immune system cannot cope. See, one of the little known effects of booze involves the gradual devastation of the immune system. This leaves heavy drinkers significantly more susceptible to serious infectious diseases like pneumonia and tuberculosis. Not only that, but once infected, they are also more likely to get serious complications that will require hospitalization. Their hospital stays also tend to be longer. They are less likely to make a complete recovery and more likely to die. These differences are not subtle. Even in the 18th century, long before patient databases, computers, or advanced statistical analyses, doctors were able to easily recognize them and describe them in their reports. Today, with the help of these tools, medical doctors and epidemiologists can quantify these effects with high precision. 2 of the diseases that have received the most attention are HIV and tuberculosis. Compared to non-drinkers, drinkers are more likely to both acquire HIV as well as to progress to full-blown AIDS. And it's the same with tuberculosis, which is actually the world's leading cause of infectious deaths. Every year, millions of people become ill from this disease and around 1.5 million will perish. Alcohol is one of the most important lifestyle factors driving this disease, and is thought to contribute to about 30% of cases. It's a similar story with pneumonia, a disease with 2.5 million annual deaths. The link with alcohol consumption is linear, as in the more you drink, the more your pneumonia risk increases. Very heavy drinkers are at the highest risk, nearly 4 times that of non-drinkers. Alcohol also impairs our wound healing response, increasing the likelihood of chronic wounds that fail to close properly. As to why drinking devastates the immune system, like everything else alcohol, the answer is multifaceted. In other words, the damage is not due to a single cause, but a combination of effects. First, alcohol damages the mucosal barriers in the respiratory and gastrointestinal tracts, which allow pathogens to enter the body more easily. It also interferes with the normal functioning of specialized lung cells that are crucial in clearing infections. The balance of our gut microbiota, which is crucial for immune functioning, is also disturbed. And alcohol also interferes with the absorption of various vitamins and minerals that are essential to the immune system. Number 4, your nutrient absorption suffers. And this brings us to the next point. Back to something that we mentioned in the very start. Not only is alcohol completely devoid of all nutrients, but it actively interferes with the absorption from food. The GI tract is actually one of the systems that suffers the most, as it's where alcohol first makes contact with the body. Aside from increasing the risk of cancer, alcohol also disrupts the mucosal barrier that keeps toxins from circulation, contributing to a condition known as leaky gut syndrome. Alcohol also affects the production of certain digestive enzymes, as well as the transport of nutrients into the blood, their storage and utilization. In this way, it interferes with the absorption of macronutrients, including amino acids, peptides, and lipids, as well as various micronutrients. These include vitamins A, D, E, K, and several B vitamins, as well as minerals like zinc, calcium, iron, magnesium, and selenium. A deficiency in vitamin B1, also known as thiamine, can have devastating long-term consequences. In severe cases, it can lead to a brain disease known as Wernicke-Korsakoff syndrome. This is a severe neurological condition that causes profound memory problems. It also causes confusion and coordinational issues and is often fatal. And tragically, this can strike people as young as their 30s and 40s. 5. You are chronically inflamed. Earlier, when we were discussing alcohol's impact on the liver, we mentioned that the intermediate stage involves heavy inflammation, a disease known as hepatitis. The inflammation occurs primarily because alcohol triggers certain signaling proteins called cytokines. Cytokines can be either pro-inflammatory, promoting inflammation to help fight off the damage, or anti-inflammatory, putting the inflammation under control once the damage is contained. The toxicity from heavy drinking triggers various pro-inflammatory cytokines in the liver. The most important of these is tumor necrosis factor alpha, TNFA. Elevated levels of this cytokine contribute to the death of healthy cells, inflammation, and ultimately fibrosis. Although the liver does suffer the most, it is far from the only organ in the body that becomes chronically inflamed. The inflammation also affects the pancreas, sometimes leading to a disease called pancreatitis. The brain also becomes chronically inflamed, in the process killing off countless brain cells and ultimately affecting cognitive functioning. And of course, there is the gastrointestinal tract, which forms the first line of contact with alcohol in the body. Inflammation there is driven by the increase in bacterial loads, as well as the increased leakiness of the intestinal wall, which allows bacterial toxins to leak from the intestines into the bloodstream. Gut inflammation, in turn, exacerbates systemic inflammation. This is because the intestinal leaking triggers widespread immune responses, which affect various organs, joints, and the skin. Number 6. A permanent state of oxidative stress. So, while the molecules involved in oxidative stress were discovered more than 100 years ago, the concept itself is quite new. The name oxidative stress actually first appeared in the medical literature just 40 years ago in 1985. Though it's quite new, the concept has proven very powerful and advanced our understanding of a wide range of diseases. And the mitigation of oxidative stress is now a central focus of both medical research and clinical practice. But what exactly do we mean by oxidative stress? In simple terms, our body is constantly producing a special class of harmful molecules called free radicals. It forms these free radicals as a byproduct of normal cellular processes. A free radical is a molecule that has an unpaired electron, making it unstable and highly reactive. In other words, these molecules aggressively seek out other molecules to add a second electron to. The process then also destabilizes these other molecules, which is how free radicals damage cells, proteins, and DNA. To counter the free radical damage, the body utilizes another class of molecules called antioxidants. These can offer a stabilizing electron to the free radicals without becoming unstable themselves. Some of the most significant antioxidants are vitamin C and E, beta-carotene, selenium, coenzyme Q10, flavonoids, and polyphenols. When there is an imbalance between the antioxidants and free radicals in our system, we are said to be in a state of oxidative stress. That means we have too many free radicals and not enough antioxidants to neutralize them. A chronic state of oxidative stress means your cells are suffering, that their DNA, proteins, lipids, and critical structures like the mitochondria are taking needless damage. In the long run, this contributes to premature aging, neurodegenerative diseases, cardiovascular disease, cancer, and various other problems. Alcohol raises oxidative stress by increasing the production of free radicals when it's metabolized, as well as inhibiting the key antioxidants. Aside from alcohol, other lifestyle factors that raise oxidative stress include tobacco, a poor diet, chronic stress, and exposure to pollutants and heavy metals. And unless you stop drinking, supplementing with antioxidants is really like trying to put a band-aid on a much deeper wound. It's probably better than not supplementing at all, but it can't compare with the benefits that you will get from stopping drinking altogether. Number 7, chronic diseases are exacerbated. Now, at this point, we can appreciate something that I mentioned at the start of the video. That alcohol is unique among drugs in the extent of damage that it causes. On the one hand, you have organ and tissue-specific damage, like the liver and the heart. On the other hand, you have system-wide processes like inflammation, oxidative stress, nutrient malabsorption, immune system decline, and many other things that we don't have time to cover in today's video. That is why, if you visit your doctor with any long-term health problem, cutting alcohol will usually be their top recommendation. I'm going to list some of the more common conditions where alcohol is a no-no, but I want you to understand that a full list would be several times larger. So we have hypertension, coronary artery disease, peripheral artery disease, diabetes, depression and anxiety, bipolar disorder, insomnia, osteoporosis, infectious diseases like tuberculosis, kidney disease, pancreatitis, obesity, gout, autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory bowel disease, hepatitis and cirrhosis, skin conditions like psoriasis, eczema and rosacea, migraines, sexual dysfunction, infertility, and peripheral neuropathy. Again, the list is truly endless, and this is just a sampling. The key takeaway is that, other than perhaps smoking and unhealthy food, there is no other lifestyle factor that will aggravate your existing medical problems like alcohol. While many of these diseases will ruin your quality of life, some will also kill you. According to the CDC, the average person who dies an alcohol-related death will go an astonishing 29 years before their time. And at number 8, let's finally talk about cancer. The fact that alcohol causes cancer is one of the alcohol industry's biggest PR nightmares. It's a risk that they've invested countless amounts of money and energy in minimizing, distorting, or denying altogether. But here's the thing, the numbers don't lie. According to the World Health Organization, booze causes at least 7 types of cancer. These are the mouth, throat, voice box, esophagus, liver, colon, rectum, as well as breast in women. The final list will probably be longer, but these are the cancers for which we already have conclusive evidence. There are several mechanisms behind alcohol's carcinogenicity. These include acetaldehyde attacking and damaging DNA, the chronic oxidative stress, as well as hormonal changes in breast cancer. Then there's the fact that alcohol damages the epithelial cells that line the mouth, throat, and digestive tract, allowing cancer-causing substances to then penetrate more easily. For some of these cancers, particularly breast cancer in women, there is no safe lower limit. In other words, your risk increases from the very first drink. Breast cancer is one of the most common types of cancer, and 16% of cases are alcohol-related. Overall, in the US, there are 100,000 alcohol-related cancers annually, with 20,000 deaths. These people die on average 15 years before their time. These stats are from the Surgeon General's 2025 report, which identifies alcohol as the 3rd leading preventable cause of cancer after tobacco and obesity. The report also highlights just how unaware the public is of these risks. Citing a 2019 survey, the report notes that while 89% of Americans recognize tobacco as a factor of cancer, the corresponding figure for alcohol is only 45%. Of course, this is no accident. It's largely the result of the alcohol industry's decades-long and relentless disinformation campaign to gaslight the public. And you can learn more about how the alcohol industry does this by clicking the video on the screen now. You definitely want to check this out.